It's called Audacity.
It's. I mean, I don't know. It's a clever play on words.
It is a clever play on words. taking my pregame hit here.
Yeah.
Before we get too far in the weeds.
Weed.
Hiya!
Let's just call the asshole right away, and
Yeah, are we going to
because we have no intro, we just
like which asshole?
I only have one on my phone.
Oh, well, you have more than one, buddy.
There was an I'm not on this phone. There was an offer to talk to Bobby Rogers, but I forgot to get his number in time to do it.
Oh no!
Plus, I didn't hook up this.
Yellow.
Hey, it's that asshole you were talking about.
There's only one asshole.
Wait, what?
Well, we started the podcast with Ben going, I'm going to call the asshole. And I'm like, what asshole? And apparently it was you.
Oh. Well, takes an asshole to know an asshole.
It does. And we're actually like a cavalcade of assholes.
It's just a whole bunch of assholes.
Lots of assholes is raining from the sky. So, Ben,
well, I'm driving to New Jersey, so
why?
There's snow everywhere, and I'm in a fucking Suburban.
Oh my!
That's way too big for me to be driving.
I'm trying to imagine you driving a Suburban, and I can't. It's filling my life with laughter.
It's fucking brutal.
Well, you definitely should tune in to Thursday's podcast. Where was it Thursdays? Where Anthony was following. Well, we recorded Thursday, yeah.
Right.
Where he had to follow his dad, who was driving at night in the rain with a mattress in the back of a truck, and his dad can't see anything.
You're too far away from Davey to be doing Davey shit, AJ.
Oh, but my dad still thinks he's in Florida, so.
Oh, okay.
In North Carolina.
They apparently tell everyone all the time they're from Florida.
Yeah, we're from Florida.
I want you to know that when I eventually leave this cesspool, I am never, ever, ever purposely acknowledging that I was ever living here.
Yeah, that's what my mom does. She tells everyone, we're from Florida.
I don't think Marco understands that I'm from Florida, like tattooed
Yeah,
across
it's just written across my face genetically or something.
I'm not sure. Yeah, you can't get away with that. No.
I'll be in Wisconsin for 10 years. Someone will walk up, you're from Davie. And I'm like, God damn it.
Was it the flip-flops that gave it away?
Oh, I have a feeling if I lived in like fucking Wisconsin, I wouldn't be wearing flip-flops.
I have a feeling
you probably would be, actually.
Yeah, you would.
Man, I'm not built for that kind of winter.
I'm not saying like walking out.
Oh, you mean during like
shoveling your?
How many times of the year does Wisconsin not have snow? I don't know.
Right, seriously.
I just assume it's always filled with snow.
That's again shows your Florida is showing with your ignorance.
I'm not the one purposely driving to Jersey.
Yeah, I have no clue where I'm going. Just so you know.
That's cool.
This fucking roads are confusing.
This is wonderful.
So I got the gang back together because we had discussed maybe telling some Rusty Brooks stories.
Rest in peace, Rusty.
Not that I have any, but you two do.
Jesus,
I have all my.
What is she doing, this lady? What are you doing? This fucking lady. It's one fucking lane, you moron.
I thought I was the road rage guy.
No, this.
Drive here for 10 minutes. Holy shit. No, she was trying to get over. I don't know. Oh, she's a student driver, of course.
This is the disruptive shit I have to deal with when I call this shit pig.
The best thing to do to a student driver, AJ, is to get in front of him and brake check him for about a mile and a half. Yeah, that removes all confidence.
This giant Suburban. I feel like an asshole as is.
It's better in a Suburban, man, because that way they kind of like ding off you like a gnat.
Right. Good thing I paid. I never pay for the insurance. I paid for the insurance.
Oh, bumper cars all the way to fucking New York, buddy.
Speaking of gnats, before we get anything else, I tried to rib you guys with that pregnancy photo.
That was fantastic.
And I got so nervous to post it because I just didn't want to set your wife off because I know if I set her off, it puts you in a bad mood, and I knew I had to deal with you the next day. But you guys did a couple of those those people pictures where you guys.
Can I talk about how that happened?
Wear collared shirts
because that's a good story.
And invite someone to take professional photos of you. But yes, but let me finish my thought.
Yeah.
And so you guys are holding up the sonograms.
Yeah.
But it's like this long, like it's almost like a photo booth strip.
Walgreens list.
It was it reminded me of a CVS receipt.
It really is looking like that.
So I literally photoshopped a CVS receipt.
I remember
in it.
when she brought all those pictures home. I'm like, we only need one.
Yeah.
The baby doesn't care.
So on her post, I in the comments put the Photoshop version in, and I was just like sitting there staring at it, holding my breath until she responded to it to know whether I'd done fucked up or not.
No.
And when she was literally the first one to react to it, and
It was
and
hysterical. Listen,
I know, but when you joke about people's babies and their important baby moments, sometimes they have the wrong perspective.
That's
on
true.
things.
That's true.
So-
That's true.
Right, sometimes it's not funny.
Yeah. If you catch him at the wrong end of the mood swing, that happens to me pretty much constantly. But yeah, so she ended work. Thursday, and she comes after work. She comes down to the garage and goes, "We're taking baby photos," and I'm like, "What?"
What baby?
I'm like,
What baby?
and I'm like, I want to make announcement photos, and I'm like, all right, well, I figure she's gonna bring a friend in to do photography or something, and she goes, I'm gonna get it ready, and I'm like, all right, so I go up and I'm just watching like YouTube, and she comes out in this fucking what did they? God damn it! What was Toxic Avengers fucking Kabuki Man? She's like her fucking this makeup. I was like, what the fuck? What kind of pictures are we taking? She goes, they're black and white pictures. Don't look at my face, and like runs off. And she had cleaned an entire corner of her office area. First time she's cleaned an area of anything to do these photos. Okay.
He's gonna get himself eat. Jesus.
No. I let her know. I was like, should we just take pictures every day, just so like
in a different part of the apartment?
I was like, in a week, this place would be fucking phenomenal. and it was just crazy, man. We sat there. She took like 10, 15 pictures, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, babe, one would suffice. But she took all the different pictures from all these different angles.
So wait, she had like crazy makeup on because she knew that in black and white it would.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then she actually like at one point she goes, I need you in the bathroom. I come in the bathroom and she starts like putting makeup on my face. Like, I walk in and she just starts putting, and I'm like I don't need makeup.
Yeah, we don't do that
here. Oh my goodness, yeah. And then I told her, I was like, I'm not looking forward to the cavalcade of awful that comes with you publicly posting this on Facebook, because all the unders are going to come out from the rocks to talk to me for the first time in years, and so on. It has happened and occurred that within 15 minutes, I had people I hadn't spoken to in 3-4 years going like, "Yeah, brother, you're doing it," and I'm like, "Doing what?"
You're joining us in this level of hell.
Wait, because you know what? That's the truth. Everybody feels like a sense of like he's with us now. Like
Yeah.
You don't understand. You're gonna one day in like 5 years, somebody you know is gonna be like, "Yeah, we're having a baby." You're gonna be like, "Oh, thank God. Welcome to the club. We needed you."
Yeah, no,
You
it's
don't
like
even know.
it's like good. Fuck him too.
We've been waiting for you.
And yeah, it was crazy because I haven't been on Facebook, and I went on because I wanted to stop anyone from posting stupid bullshit on my fucking page. But second off, I was like, whatever, we'll see. And I'm just like, all these people are posting. I'm like, I haven't heard from you in 3 years. I haven't heard from you in 5. I didn't even know we were still friends. Like, you just keep going down the list, and you're just like, you start to realize, like, wow, I know a lot of people that forgot my phone number. And of course the others are, well, you could call. I'm like, nah, I've been doing my own thing, man. If you need me, I'm like Batman. Just put the signal up, you know? But yeah, it's just funny. It's funny to see all these people that can't be bothered to say word one to you throughout the year, but feel compelled to write a congratulatory remark on the thing. Like if they don't, I'm gonna hunt them down. Like they need those best friend. They need good friend points. They getting their points.
I almost went into business for myself more than I did once there was like 80 comments or so on her post, because she actually has friends. You're miserable. That once they had all commented, so they would then see my comment and get a notice because they're now part of a discussion thread. I was gonna say, for your information, if you were listening to our podcast, you would have known about this pregnancy a month ago.
Oh God!
Like an early Patreon level or something.
I don't need any of those assholes knowing I have a podcast.
Yeah, because we probably have talked about half of them.
I probably shit on half of them already. Just and it's funny too because the reason I posted, I was like, let's just see. And within like 5 or 10 minutes, I'm like, all these motherfuckers that just can't wait. They just can't wait to like love react or say something. But it's like, hey man, you haven't heard from me in a year and a half. No like text message like, you dead?
Yeah.
Nothing? All right.
You'll hear again in 9 months.
Yeah.
Post
correct.
a picture of the.
Well, apparently, according to the wife, everyone's asking her about baby registry. So I'm like, let's get the fuck on that. I don't want to spend any money.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend any
Get on
money.
that.
You
don't wanna
should.
spend a dime.
You should have had that. You should have had that ready.
Well,
Right. It should have been at the end of the post.
Right.
Right there, the link. Boom.
Instead of that link to the charity she posted, it should have been your registry.
well, okay. Oh, you guys will love this. So she told her work for the first time on Wednesday. She dragged me into the room. To say hi to all her underlings and all the people that she's a supervisor, so she's got like 20 people that she's responsible for.
I keep forgetting people work at home now.
Yeah.
I thought she dragged you to work.
No.
Man, you forgot people who worked in general. Let's be real.
So like I had this whole like Brady Bunch
fucked up.
fucking screen of people congratulating us and everything. And I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, hi, people that I'll never meet or know or anything like that. You know, oh, yeah, you used to work at Chewy. Yeah, oh, yeah, well, okay, whatever. She gets off work. She drags me back in. She goes, I have to show you something. And you're going to fucking love this, guys. One of my old, when I worked at Chewy, my old supervisor, of course, knew that I used to wrestle. Well,
They always find out.
he said it on the thread of all the supervisors and managers at Chewy. So she brings me in, and there's this 3-page dialogue, just pictures of me that people have found on the internet. They're all researching. Oh my god!
Where can I go to contribute to this?
Oh my god! One of the managers had posted like, I want to start telling my agents that I'm gonna primeplex them if they don't do. And I'm like, oh my god, Jesus fucking Christ! And like, there's this whole like they've fallen in love with the idea that I used to do this thing. Like one of them posted the Dreamer match. Like, guys, you gotta see this. This is Natalia's husband. And I'm like, oh my god, fucking Christ!
You know what's funny? I forgot to send you guys a picture. I had a meeting on Wednesday, and it was my turn to speak, and they're like, do you have a PowerPoint? I said, no, I don't do PowerPoints. I just speak. I get up there, and everybody's laughing. And, like, I turn around, and on the board, they took, like, 4 or 5 pictures of me from, like, Tommy Vandal to AV Slambino one, and they put it on the board, and it was, like, for my presentation, and everybody's laughing. I was like, you motherfuckers. And I said, I got to take a picture of this. And the one guy's like, he's like, oh, who are you going to send it to? I go, they'll never believe me if there's not proof. I forgot to send it to you guys.
Oh, it's crazy, right? Because some of the
Right.
stuff that they post, I'm like, I don't even remember that.
Yeah, right. That happened, yeah.
Like, shit. Oh,
So
cool. Oh,
true.
cool. Yeah, that is me.
Well, that's usually like, oh, that must have been taken between concussions or
Between
something.
concussions. And some of the older stuff, I was like, I was just too high.
Right.
Especially.
Well, listen, I don't have much time here, so let's get to what we got to talk
Oh,
about.
yeah.
I gotta
Oh.
pick up Vandal
Yeah.
at the airport.
Yeah, well, you could do that and talk at the same time. You're doing everything else while you're talking to us.
Now, too, because I'm in
He's,
Jersey.
he's
you know.
driving an earth mover.
That trash dick can wait.
Yeah.
You should
It
just pull
smells.
over for 30 minutes and let him fucking wait at the terminal. That's a great rip. Then when you're up 30 minutes late, say sorry, I had to pull over and podcast.
Listen, I'm already 30 minutes late.
Priority.
Fucking guy texting me every 4 days looking for stock tips. Holy shit! What a fucking
I'm so glad I told him that.
what a fucking bottom feeder.
So, yeah, the other day, Rusty Brooks passed away, and for those that don't know, Rusty Brooks pretty much trained the last 4 generations of indie wrestlers. He was
In South Florida.
in South Florida. He was a professional wrestler. He actually is one of the few people to have a victory over Hulk Hogan in his prime on TV. It was he had a short stint in WWE, but traveled around, and he did a lot of shit in his life, and he was he was battling he had kidney problems, but diabetes real bad. And the last couple of years, I didn't even know because I haven't been on Facebook. AJ, maybe you know, he's had all kinds of like toes amputated and all kinds of
I didn't know
health
either
issues.
until this week.
Recently,
Yeah.
like it's been recently.
Yeah, I didn't know.
It's strange that I'm more on top of it than you guys.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I didn't know either.
yeah.
Yeah. No, like, and I didn't know because because I found out Seth called me and he goes, "Hey, did you know Rusty died?" And I'm like, "Seth, don't fucking rib me now. Like, don't rib me about that shit." He goes, "No, he passed away." And I'm like, "What?" And then I went on the thread and you guys were just starting to talk about it, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, it's hard to say, but like Rusty Brooks is to us what if you were into like say you're into the Cobra Kai stuff. It's like he's a Mr. Miyagi. Like he was responsible. Fuck all that. He's responsible for any sort of professional wrestling at this point in South Florida. There's no one working that you can't look at and his imprint isn't on them in some way.
Even the guys running it now, like
Yeah.
Dave.
Like Dave,
Right.
You know, fucking trained Dave, trained Billy, trained fucking Hassan. He trained all these guys, and like it's just he's just one of those guys that you never thought about. You never thought you were going like. Whoever thought like Rusty's sick, but Rusty's always been sick. He's a tough son of a bitch. He's bulletproof.
Right.
I mean, I remember visiting him in the hospital after one of his bad bouts, and he's just sitting there joking about looking under the skirts of the nurses and shit. And I'm just like, oh, fucking Rusty, man, fucking Rusty. I love that. You know, he's fucking half coherent and he's still making jokes and, you know, fucking his famous, you know, fart in church line and shit like that.
Right, fart jokes out the ass. Yeah, literally, yeah. Literally out the ass. Yeah.
And there's stuff about him that I've always like looked at Rusty and been like, I'm like, how do you pull that shit off? And that's not podcast friendly. I don't want to like put any of his laundry out, but Rusty Brooks lived a long, interesting, crazy life, and I mean, AJ, you and I could sit here and fucking tell stories forever.
Well, tell a few.
Well, I mean, you know, I've talked. AJ, what's your favorite Rusty story?
The only like, first of all, like you said, I mean, and if I'm cutting out, it's because I'm at the airport. But blame Vandal for this. Am I cutting out?
No, yeah.
Okay. No, what? So, I mean, he trained me in 19. I think I went there in 1998 or 1999, and the one thing. It was funny because we used to go and everybody would pay at the end of the week, and I think I like tried to pay a couple times, and Rusty was like would never let me pay, and I'd always see everybody else paying, and I'm like, man, he must really fucking like me, and I didn't really like, you know, I think he thought I just had potential, so he was like, you know, in that class of people that we had, there wasn't, you know, I mean, there was some good guys, but I think I was like a young one. That was before you started, Marco, for sure.
Oh yeah, I didn't start till like 2000.
Well, maybe
Yeah.
he saw Dave Johnson beating the shit out of you every day and said, "Well, I can't charge him for this."
right, yeah. So, but two funny stories. I mean, he taught me, him and Flex taught me everything, and took care of me and Eric for sure. But there's two things that come to mind. One was the fart in church story, which. This really happened. We had a match early on. We were just starting. Me and Eric were just starting as a tag team, the Vandals, and we come in the back, and we were proud. And I was always the one, like, you know, Eric would always be like, "You ask him." Like Eric was like kind of like afraid of Rusty, and you know, he dropped one too many stiff elbows on him. But
that's right, because Rusty was
said,
still working at that time.
Right, he physically trained us. Yeah. So I go back there. We're all sweaty, can't breathe, and I go, "How was it?" He goes, "Well, that got over like a fart in church." And I looked at Eric and I was like, I don't think that's good. and we looked back at Rusty. He goes, "It's not." And I was like, well, we shit the bed. So
fart in church. Yeah. What's the positives?
Right. I was like, did the fart smell? Or but anytime Rusty farted, it smelled. And Rusty always had a fart machine on him. I don't know if he had that back when you started. He had this machine that he would press a button and it would fart. It would be like, "Ah!" And he would all practice. If you did a shitty move he would just press the fart button and it would just rip a fart.
No, by the time because we got Rusty, Rusty really started working with us the same time that Jeff had gotten out of jail again. So Rusty Brooks has a son, J Dog. There's 1,000 J Dog stories and jokes and all that other stuff. But he had gotten some trouble. He came back out of jail, and we were doing at that time when I was with George and all of them. We were doing some work. Gonzo was really behind us, and Gonzo brought in Rusty, who asked George to book Jeff. I was Jeff's first match out of jail.
Oh,
and all I knew of J Dog was all the old FOW stuff. And so I'm sitting there like, is this going to be a fight? Are we just gonna like? Is he just gonna come in here and just be like this crazy wild man? Because that's the Jeff I know, you know.
Right.
And he came out. We had a really good match. I mean, listen, the first match. This was at the Exotica convention in 2006. So we're at a porn convention doing wrestling. We're 20 feet away from us. There's a bunch of hot women on the stage faking orgasms. There wasn't a whole lot of people watching whatever the fuck we were doing in that ring.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, that was a great. Hey, you want to come sit in the bang bus? I'm like, nah, man. I like my life and diseases that I won't be having by not doing that.
Man, how did I miss this?
Dude, this was before. This is before like all. This is like right. We had just like Gonzo'd come in. George had we brought in Norman for the convention. Because Gonzo basically helped us get in with Rusty. I think once we were in with Rusty and Rusty opened, because when Rusty opened back up, man, like he didn't have the fart machine and all that. It was just, and he didn't really do a whole lot in the ring at that point. A lot of it was, the Rusty Brooks ring.
I like how you mentioned the fart machine as if that was like, well, we didn't have a ring. It's like as if it's like like an important part of a wrestling school.
He hadn't changed anything. Like I had to get new rugs to bump on because he had all the old rugs from back when AJ trained, and it was like, nah, that's not gonna work so well. All that old padding was bad. Oh my goodness, yeah, and then that was he basically that was the last generation really. Of my generation was the one he had the input on, and we can say positive or negative about that generation, but one thing Rusty really did was Rusty gave you a chance. He let you get in the ring. He gave you a shot. He tried to help. It was up to you to do with that information. He would tell you, he would like, hey, listen, man, you need to do this, or this, or man. Whatever you're doing is shit for all. Rusty wasn't good at lying to you.
Well, that's a good.
And that's the thing. He never lied to you.
That's definitely a good thing. If he's like taking money to teach you, there are definitely guys that will string you along and not be honest with you because they want you to come back for another month's pay or whatever.
And he wasn't one of those guys.
No.
I remember. And this is. Because before I met Rusty, before I started training over at Rusty's, I had known Rusty from the FOW days and all that stuff. But before that, I didn't know where I stood. I'm like, am I just this stupid fucking backyarder who's completely delusional?
Yes.
Or is there something to what I'm trying to do? And Rusty, when he opened his school, he had hit me and Jeff basically train everybody. And I remember asking Mark Rusty, listen, I know that within George's organization, ICW and everything, those backyarders, I'm the least shitty of them, but you don't have to lie to me. If I'm not any good, just tell me. He goes, oh, no, you're fine. He's like, you little here. And then I just remember, like, Rusty actually thought I was a good worker. And that was the first time that I had any kind of real confidence in what I was doing because here was a guy who had made real money in the wrestling business who looked me in the eye and went, no, you're on the right path. So I've always thanked Rusty for giving me that opportunity to just like, because before that I didn't know, because I just thought I'm doing all kinds of shitty stuff the wrong way. We all know, We know that I was, but I didn't at the time know what the fuck was going on. Rusty really helped put me in that, gave me all the confidence to go forth and, get better, I would say. Because he kept bringing in people who, Billy didn't start coming back until a long time later, but
right, because
because Billy's Billy.
Right, Billy came and went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. You never came down, I don't think, man. But you were already. I don't even think you were around.
No, I may not have been living. Yeah, I don't know where.
I don't even think you were around.
At that point.
Like every now and then, Johnny would come in. He'd have guys come down and come around and whatnot. But that was towards the end. But Rusty had his last match at an ICW show, and it was him and
They're still on the plane.
I think Rayner. I think it was him and Rayner. And or it was a tag match or something like that. And he did a few limited stuff, but fuck, man, it just sucks to know because it's just like.
But even until the last couple of months, he was
over
going
at Dave's.
He was going to Dave's.
And that would bring up. It's like it sucks that I never got to go back around there and see him one last time. I can't
same.
I can't even tell you the last time I saw him. It was
It
probably
was one of those lunches we probably went to, maybe.
It probably was.
And they haven't done those in like 2 years because
COVID.
Well, this year COVID, but I think also that he does dialysis a lot.
Yeah.
So if it's not a dialysis day,
yeah,
it's like a recovery day. You know what I mean? So it's not like he's really up for a lot.
So like, and look, everyone in a way, he's touched pretty much the last couple generations worth of wrestler. Everyone has a Rusty Brooks story if you've wrestled in fucking Florida. Everyone.
Right.
But I feel most and like really thoughts and prayers out to his son and Flex, because I mean
his other son.
Yeah. I mean, shit, man. I can't even imagine. It's terrible.
Yeah.
But we can all sit back and honestly say that Rusty lived a really full life. Like he did all kinds of crazy shit. He would sit there and tell you stories. He had Andre stories. He had everybody's stories.
Right. Hogan, Andre, Macho Man.
Yeah, he just fucking.
Right.
And because he was like what was he, AJ? He was like the jobber.
Yeah,
he was.
He was like one or two enhancement guys.
Yeah, he was the guy that.
He was.
So he worked with everybody. And because Rusty was good at doing business and he was a good person, he had good stories, and everyone has good stories about Rusty. He's a worker, so there's gonna be some stuff, but hey,
well, that's a testament. I feel like, it's a weird parallel, but the only one I can draw from that I have personal experience with is like Jackie, where like you see the response for the bad. When the bad news comes out that everyone knew him, everyone loved him. Nobody had, whether he was alive or now when everyone, when you pass away, all of a sudden you get a little bit of a sainthood no matter who you were. No. But even before, I never heard a bad, like anyone with a bad experience or had hard feelings or was mad at him or had heat of any kind. It was always good. It was always. Everybody I ever met talked positively about him.
Right.
He was. I mean, listen, especially like when AJ started training, I heard Rusty could be tough. He could be real tough.
He was, but I think what though.
But within the confines of confines of the role.
But he was a real man,
right?
And he came at you like that. He didn't try to hide. He didn't know how to sugarcoat. He couldn't understand this generation's softness or none of that fucking nonsense. He saw something. And he told you what he saw.
But I feel like everyone that was on the receiving end of that understood that came from the right place.
Yes.
It wasn't mean-spiritedness. It wasn't bullying. And it was because he was trying to help you.
Yeah, and if he was ever really pissed at you, you probably fucked up.
Right.
And
you would know. Right?
Yeah, you would know. And if you had a question, you would ask anyone else around him, and it would go like, yeah, you did the thing. And they go, oh, okay. Shit, I got some explaining to do. No, I fucking, it's a sad day, man. It's a sad day. And like Rusty leaving's like one of those moments where I can say it's like, man, as the business that was, it's gone, man. But I guess Dave and what he's doing over over there is the closest you're gonna get,
It is,
and
for
he's doing a great job from all I know.
Well, you would think he's got the right mentality.
Yeah.
He's had Billy in there all the time. He's had Rusty in there all the time. I mean, all that's got to rub off and
Right.
at least harken back to what you
Yeah.
expect to be the right way to do things.
If we mention Billy one more time, does he appear
Right.
through the doorway?
He will.
He's
All right, I got to figure out how to open this trunk. You guys continue. Oh.
There's, Jesus Christ! There's got to be a button or something, buddy.
I don't know. All right,
It's
I
a
got to go.
All right. Take it easy, man.
All right, goodbye.
that fucking.
You need to open up the next furlough files. Did he ever get the trunk open?
I figure we'll get an update soon enough. He's got to deal with Eric now, so that's a whole.
That's fucking
Ricky Vandal.
Fucking Jersey of all places.
It's like.
Why are they in fucking Jersey?
Well, because he went visit his dad in I guess North Carolina or wherever they are.
And he didn't know you could drive south as well?
No. Anthony went, and the plan was then he was going to go fly up to see his brother for a few days in New York, New Jersey. Yeah. And I guess Eric was like, "I'll join you."
But how did the Suburban come into play? Why didn't he just fly?
He flew there, but he needs a car for a few days. While you're up there. He's got the kids. They're going to go do shit. Like he's like they're. It's not like he's going there and.
I don't know why I just feel AJ leaves his kids at the house.
I mean, if you ask me, he should just fucking put enough food in their bowls for 3 days.
Put a few $100 on the kitchen table and go, hey, don't die.
Basically. I mean, those kids, first of all, all right, let's just shoot on his kids for a minute.
You've already got heat with Lex.
Well, his daughter hates me, so only because I enjoy. Listen, I'm not even gonna explain it. It's funny that she just doesn't like me, but I feel like it's like fake heat now.
Yeah.
It's just like a fun gag to continue for her. But his son, at whatever he is, 16 years old, a grown ass man at this point. Can't fucking do anything. Can barely wipe his own ass. Can't cook. Neither of them can feed themselves or clean up behind themselves.
Which is crazy because AJ's a really good cook.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess all the pictures are really nice.
Yeah, maybe.
He makes good Instagram worthy food. Whether or not it tastes good,
it may be a pretty picture, but it may be done with crayons on cardboard. You know what I mean?
We put some hairspray on it over here.
I mean, you did. Have you? Again, I know you guys don't listen to the podcast. You just appear on it. But there was the one revelation that he didn't know you're supposed to wash your mushrooms.
What?
He's been cooking for years. Where look at your face. He's been look at your face. You're disgusted.
AJ, what are you doing, bro?
For years, he's been cooking with the mushrooms, and just not only has he just thought it was all part of the fucking deal, like that it was all edible in there, but he would then after dumping the mushrooms out, he would knock the box and hit the extra dirt in there.
Flavor crystals, man.
And I'm like,
crystals.
You're supposed to wash those. It was a huge revelation. He took a beating from people that listen.
Oh
and,
my God.
And then I go,
you wash everything, man.
Well, no, you don't have to. If, for example, at Publix, when you go to the little area where they have mushrooms, there are all these different kinds that you do
I like
wash.
your macho man.
Yeah, there's all these ones you do have to wash. But then there are ones labeled pre-washed sliced mushrooms.
Yeah, but they're in the packages. Yeah.
Well, no, you're not buying mushrooms. They're all packaged. I'm just saying 90% of them are still dirty and need to be washed.
Yeah.
But the ones that are sliced and say pre-washed on the label are the ones I always buy, so I don't have to fucking wash them.
Fucking AJ buys the ones that have been drug across a fucking gypsy's asshole. And
yeah. It's like
I'm gonna throw some butter and garlic on it. Call it a day.
It's like the box, the net weight of it is 50% dirt. It's like they just unearthed it and dumped it in the box.
Mushrooms are weird to me too because it's like I'm very hot or cold with them. There's sometimes occasions where I'm all about it, then sometimes I'm like, get that fucking shit off my plate. And it's so weird. It's like it was the only foods.
Well, there's a lot of mushrooms aren't, for the most part, aren't like a dish that's like the main thing. Like you're not like, I'm having mushrooms tonight.
No. Yeah.
It's always like accompanies something.
Yeah.
So like it's in the omelet, or it's on the burger, or it's on a side with the steak.
Natalia got hers on her pizza yesterday.
Right. So I assume that there's some foods that you're like, yeah, I'm down with the mushrooms in that.
Yeah.
And then there's other foods you're like, mushrooms have no business being in that. Like pineapple. It's like some people are like, okay, put it on my pizza, and other people want to kill you if they see it on it.
So we were watching.
But it's not like they don't like pineapple.
Yeah, we were watching a video because we're going up next weekend for our wedding anniversaries next weekend, and we're going up to Orlando for a few days just to kind of like get away, and we're looking at the food options at the.
Not for a scouting mission.
Oh well, there'll probably be at least a couple hours of that. I at least want to drive by a few areas to see what's been talked about. But we were looking at the food menu because Universal Studios is a Mardi Gras and there are a bunch of food options. Do they have like just this fucking it's grilled pineapple slices, just grilled pineapple, and I'm like, who the fuck just gonna spend like $5 on 2 slices of fucking grilled pineapple?
It's probably delicious.
I just don't understand.
Because you get like the caramelized sugar kind of thing going on there.
Oh, like when you used to get like the pineapple chicken. There used to be a Sterling Country Kitchen down the road here, and I used to get their pineapple chicken. And I never understood the grilled pineapple on top, but they always tasted different. That might be what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't understand grilled
because
pineapple,
like fruit
has
the sugars in it. So when you cook it, it caramelizes, and then it has that. Then it's got that extra candy kind of thing to it.
Good point, Ghost.
Thank you. Listen. If I don't know food, I don't know who does. So. I know it going in, and I know it coming out.
How about I've spent the last week trying to pin down a vlogging camera for us to get, and I've realized I'm very inept at making this decision. And we've had the conversation 2 days ago. This morning, my wife's like, watch YouTube videos of these cameras, and you'll know if you want them. And it's like, it made it worse. It's like, I thought I knew. Now I don't know if I knew what I thought I knew. And I'm just at the point now where, because what we're trying to do is,
all I know is I don't know.
Yeah, all I know is I don't know. We're trying over here to get a camera. We've got some projects that we want to do stuff with, and I want one that is multi-purpose, that can do all the stuff that I needed to do, that we needed to do over here. But I don't want to spend fucking $1,000 on a fucking vlogging camera.
Oh.
And it's been rough, man. It's been rough. I'm about to just buy a GoPro and call it a day.
I don't think that'll serve your needs. But
I don't think so
whatever
either.
you want to do.
I don't think so either. Because Amazon has way too many options. And I know somebody's listening now going like, don't find your camera on Amazon. Listen, asshole. It's 1-day delivery, and it's very convenient.
This is the classic 1990s back room porn section of the video store problem. Where you used to go and a little beaded curtain, and you walk through it, and it's its own room, and it's just filled with porno. And the problem is when you have more than 3 selections, you can't make up your mind.
Yeah.
You're literally in there for a fucking hour looking at all the fucking movies going, I don't know what to settle on.
Yeah.
There's too much here. And so now you're having that problem.
I am. And I thought that I figured out what I wanted. Then you and I had a conversation the other day, and I realized I happen to be looking at the right type of cameras.
Mm.
So that just threw me all the way back to zero.
Yeah.
We want to make content that A, people will want to watch, B, people can physically watch, but C, doesn't break our fucking bank accounts, which at this point isn't a tremendous number. We need to do this. We need to do this economically, and sometimes, and when it comes to electronics, it's usually, hey man, you pay what you get. You get what you pay for, and I'm trying to get a good price on something that's going to be, decent quality. I don't think you and I are going to be able to afford anything that can fucking put like 4K lifelike bullshit or whatever some of these professionals do. But for any time soon,
Nothing we do needs to be recorded in 4K.
yeah.
Like, it's not like fucking beautiful.
But I want
panoramics
them to see our eyes.
They'll see it in 1080p. That's all we need.
See, that's all you guys get. 720 if you're 720 if you're bad.
So, like shit, most people can't even stream 1080 without interruption. So whatever.
Fair. See, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So I don't know what else you want to talk about today.
Well,
because I don't have a list. But
we could do everyone's favorite segment on the podcast.
we could, yeah. I mean, it's a good. Might as well do it right now since you brought it up.
Well, we have it now, so we'll do it now, and then that'll give you time to figure something out. I also have a list.
I don't have anything to figure out.
So it is week 14 for Baby Prime, and we are now.
Okay, so this what do we call this segment?
The app is what to expect.
That sucks. How about how big is your baby?
How big is baby? I don't know.
All
That's
right,
that doesn't
it's
work.
just as bad.
It's how big is our baby? Week 14, and not
The
Ben and I's baby.
The random object
But
additions.
Ben and the wife's baby. Ben and I's baby probably would be misshapen, misformed, and not be the size of any of these items. Probably would be something like Quasimodo would look like, which I don't know what he would look like at 14 weeks, but nothing like this. Week 14, your baby is as big as a navel orange. Your baby is as big as the bubble tape bubble gum, the Hubba Bubba.
Okay.
Or, and this one weirds me out, and you'll understand why. Your baby's as big as a baseball from the Sandlot.
As if
As if a baseball from the Sandlot is a different size from
right.
any other baseball.
I think it's just as regulation.
But because it's this movie and TV props, they have to attribute it to something. They could attribute it to any baseball movie.
To
But
the
they
Natural or
should-
Field of Dreams.
I almost said Land Before Time. And not a baseball movie, Marco. Not a baseball movie. I went for Field of Dreams. I landed on Land of Time. I don't know how I did that. But yep. So our baby's about the size of your fist and doing healthy and all things. If you've seen the pictures on the wife posted, it looks like a baby in a.
You know what's funny is that like I didn't even like look at the pictures.
I don't even know how you can. I mean I haven't tried to zoom in. I would assume because we took those pictures off our iPhone, so I assume if you zoom in, you could kind of see the sonograms.
It honestly, to me, they always just look like storm radar tracking.
You know what's crazy? I was never my entire life.
We live in South Florida, so that we see a lot of like hurricane tracking.
My entire
radar.
life, and this includes leading up to being fucking actually like. The wife being pregnant. I've never been able to make a sonogram heads or tails. Like, Fridge would go, look at my baby, and I would go, storms are coming? Oh?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to read this. This is the head, and I'm like, I don't see anything you're seeing. I don't know what you're looking at, and I don't understand why some doctor gave that to you thinking that you were going to understand what he probably can't understand. But for some reason, something happens, I guess, when you have a kid, that all of a sudden you look at a sonogram and you're like, oh, look, the feet, the eyes, all the details.
know.
And it's like,
It's like it's like
it's like an upgrade you get.
it's like ghost hunter footage at the end of a fucking episode. I see like a what were those, a floating orbs?
Yeah.
Like no, that's dust, asshole.
It makes me mad those people get livings. They're allowed, they afford livings by being nonsense. Nonsense. It's all nonsense. Ghosts are real. Maybe not. But those people are nonsense.
I think they're real because I know someone that has a haunted home.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. That's fucking cool.
And I also think I had a ghost experience once.
Like Dan Aykroyd?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was in Guyana,
Mm.
and I went to lie down in the bed before, like it was after we worked at the guy's house, but before I was going to meet the guy I worked with. We had separate rooms, and we were like, all right, we'll meet at like 7 and eat dinner. We used to go down to the hotel. They had a really
Yeah.
nice restaurant there. It was all on the client, so we could sign off on it and whatever. So between working and waking up to go eat, I just laid on the bed and I went to sleep for like an hour, and I swear, I just heard a voice speak out loud, coming from like, kind of like if you're laying in bed and your headboard's against the wall. It was coming from like my right, but kind of like sort of like parallel or behind my ear. So it was like as if it was standing in the corner, or just off to the side, but back against the wall. I just heard a voice speak to me, like clear as day. I don't remember what it said. It said something. It didn't sound like someone from another room. It didn't sound like it was coming from outside. It didn't sound like it was coming from the TV that wasn't on anyways. It sounded like a motherfucker that was standing right next to me. My eyes popped open. I looked to my right. There was nothing there.
Huh.
Yep. First and only time I had an experience like that.
So I've also had a ghost experience, which is why I feel they are also real. And we had just moved into my house in Davie when I was like 11 years old, because my brother Jeff had just been born, and we upgraded to the new house, and famously, my great grandparents had passed away in the house. Or I think one of them did. One of them passed away in the hospital.
Famously.
Well, in the family. I say famously because if you think ghost, you think, and I'm about to tell a ghost story, you're like, oh, you saw your relative. Dude, no. Nay. Something else. So I'm taking a shower one day, and we had it was all glass encased, but it was like that old school like smoky glass with the gold trim around. The door was all like the gold and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm taking a shower. We'd been there 6 months, maybe 6 months, and I'm taking a shower. I turn around, and clear as day, I'll never forget this. Walking from the door of the bathroom, cross the corner of the shower. The shower was like, we'll say it was like 5x5, a 5x5 shower. So I saw this apparition of a dog walk all the way right through the shower, right past me, right through the corner, and out.
You mean it walked through something?
It walked. I just looked over and I saw this like thing outside the shower, and I'm like, "The fuck is that?" And it walked right past me. This white dog, white shepherd.
What the fuck?
And then bro, I mean, I was 11. I have goosebumps just talking about it, and I like froze.
This is before you got high all the time too. So.
Yeah, so way before. I must have stood in that shower, just standing there for like 5 minutes, like frozen in fear, like I was terrified. And I just remember I didn't shower for like a week. I refused to go. My parents wouldn't believe. No one would believe me. And I'm like, I saw a goddamn ghost dog. And then because I famously.
I thought for a minute there was a movie called Ghost Dog that was called Ghost Dad.
I did not see
Bill Cosby.
I did not see a ghost Bill Cosby. You want some pudding? No. Until I was like, it was a white dog, because I just told them I saw a dog, and they're like, stop, all right, stop, just stop being stupid, stop being dumb. You're our son. You're better than this. And I'm like, I saw a fucking white dog. I clear as day. And then my dad's like, oh, white dog. Oh, well, maybe it's Petey. And I'm like, who the fuck is Petey? And so where we lived in Davie, it was right next door to where my dad grew up in my grandparents' house. And they had all sorts of animals growing up. They had fucking dogs, horses, all kinds of shit. And as the animals would die, they just bury them in the backyard. And he goes, yeah, I had a white German Shepherd named Petey. Huh, I guess he's still around. And I'm like, don't say that shit so casually. And yeah, now I would tell that story, and people would be like, hey, I got to the point where I was like, okay, I saw something that I didn't actually see. But then years pass, and you're like, no, I totally saw that shit. Because if a decade passes, and I talk about it today, and I get goosebumps. So, yeah, man, I 100% believe in ghosts. I 100% don't believe in ghost hunters. That is horseshit nonsense. The Exorcist movie's more real than anything those shows produced.
Well, it's weird because I would say if they're ghosts, hopefully they're not aware of themselves.
I don't think
because I feel like being a ghost would be the worst thing in the world because we always imagine that they only pop up when it's convenient for us, and they're not just constantly watching you shit and jerk off all the time. You know what I mean? In the bad moments of your life. Like the ghost doesn't have the sense of good timing to never pop in.
You just sitting in the corner, like, don't mind me.
when you got a belt around your neck and you about to jerk off into a sock or something. You know what I mean? It's not. It's. I just feel like.
Are you trying to say a ghost is what killed David Carradine?
No, but I'm saying I just hope for the sake of all involved, living and the dead, that because otherwise it doesn't make sense.
Just put a hat on your door so they know.
Right. I'm like, well, like I said, my friend that has the house in Pennsylvania that has spirits or demons or whatever the fuck, he said that because he did not want to walk into a room and see something, that he got into the habit of knocking on all of his closed doors
and announcing his presence.
Before he would just knock and wait like a beat and then open the door because he didn't need that stress on his life of all of a sudden seeing something he didn't want to see.
Yeah.
So he was like, fair warning for all involved. Now a ghost isn't going to let you know it's going to walk in. 2, the ghost has no idea what you're doing.
Yeah.
So, if the ghost just decides to pop in on your life and you're squeezing out a giant fucking turd for the 3rd time that day and it's an extra, explosive affair, and then you're thinking, then you expand on that. You're like, well, of all the fucking terrible things I do privately that would be privy to a spirit that's, A, not checking in with you first, and then B, you're like, well, God, you'd like to think your parents are up there in heaven looking down at you, but most of the time you don't want them looking down at you. It's like, this is my 3rd time at the computer today, if you know what I mean. I'm surfing one-handed, and I don't need my mom looking down going, what the fuck are you doing?
Just
again? These are the thoughts that I have. And then I have to rationalize it as much as I believe I had a ghost experience. And that I know people that can, for sure that I know aren't making shit up because it's of no benefit to them.
Yeah.
That I still want to, in the back of my mind, think that's not the case because mostly just for all the potential humiliation I'd be suffering.
I've always liked to think that I saw this one time on a documentary, and a scientist brought up this idea, and I've always thought this idea makes the most sense about ghosts, where they're not so much real, they're not so much interactive, and they're not so much wandering around as they are. They're what were they the remnants of the energy of the living being that was there. There's memories of a physical presence where they're just maybe that dog made this trip, and every so often it makes this trip, the energy of that. What the fuck did they call? There was a name for it. It's escaping me right now. But what you see, if you happen to see a ghost or something like that, you're not really seeing a entity that can interact with you so much as you're just seeing what was left behind, and what was left behind occasionally just appears and reappears or whatever. And there's probably a very there's a scientific term to it that would make sense to everything I'm saying. I don't know it. We don't do research here, so
no. This is we don't want to board. We don't want to ever accuse this podcast of being educational.
But I heard that
in
once.
any way.
I heard that once, and I'm like, that makes sense because that negates your theory. That makes your theory like it's easier to take because like you're like, oh, I saw a ghost. Oh, it's just like it can't see, it can't interact, and it can't experience anything outside of whatever. Like even like when you hear the stories about the ghosts that like attack people and shit, like maybe it's that same apparition. It just attacks anything that walks through, and that's all it knows what to do. Like it doesn't have the ability to like.
You've put way more thought in this than I have. I just said, boy, I just hope this
Ghost
ghost
doesn't watch me fucking jerk off.
doesn't watch me when I'm sticking 2 fingers in my ass, you know. Yeah. So,
here's one thing we can talk about: the air fryer incident of 2021.
oh, that's right. I forgot all about that. All we got in the chat was, I don't know if it was because you did the usual Marco thing where you say something spectacularly dialogue inducing, like it's a conversation starter, and then you abandon the chat for 2 hours so people can't get answers, and then it gets dropped. But you popped on and you said that your wife melted the air fryer, or almost burned the house down or something. But it was an air fryer malfunction or something.
So I had made dinner, and for dinner I had some air fried chicken sandwiches and fries. Because Publix had these spicy chicken patties, and I was like, yeah, try them. All right. And she gets off work. She goes to make dinner. And she's cooking, like, as she's finishing dinner, she's like, hey, babe, why is the air fryer on? And I'm like, it's not on. It's off. So to set the stage, we have a stove with a microwave on top of it. I put the air fryer in the middle of all the burners because I'm like, just in case it ever gets accidentally turned on, the air fryer's not gonna melt. Nothing's gonna happen because sometimes you reach for one burner and you think you're turning on one burner and you're not. You're turning on the other one. That shit happens. So I turn on the microwave fan to low because if I run the air fryer for too long without doing that, the smoke alarm will go off. So I put it right underneath.
Why does your air fryer create that much smoke?
Well, I always use my air fryer maximum at 400 degrees. They're like, oh, well, why don't you air fry these fries at 360 for 8 minutes? And I'm like, nah, I'm going to do it at 400 for 6. Same result for me, but a little crispier too. So I like the crispy. So I always like, and I preheat. But air fryers get hot and they got a vent on top, and if it's like if it's not a cool day or if it's not cool in the apartment, it'll set off the smoke alarm. Fuck all how that works, but it does if I turn on the microwave on low. Never happens. So I had the air fryer on the left rear burner, all pushed all the way back against it to cool down before I put it to put it back where we put it. She used the burner on the right hand turn. The air fryer was covering the on and off switches for the 2 burners on the left side. So she didn't and couldn't purposely turn on those burners. But what happened was I guess the air fryer at this time I had left too central on the rear, so she went to move it over to cook her food, and when she did, she accidentally hit.
So by moving it, she turned on a burner.
She turned on the left rear burner on high. So when she gets done cooking, the air fryer's smoking from the top of it, the vents on the top, and she's like, "Why is it on?" And I'm like, "It's not on." And dude, I was high. I'm sitting there watching TV, and I'm like, I don't want to get up and just show her that it's not on. It's not on. I know I turned it off. And then I go, I smell it, and I'm like, what's this burning? And I shoot up because for some reason I knew exactly what had happened, and I ran into the kitchen. I pulled that air fryer right before because she had plugged it in and thought that I don't know what Natalia logic she used, but I guess she figured by plugging it. I don't know, and I can't assess her mental state, but she plugged it back in. I pulled it off just before it burned to the cord, which would have sparked and probably started some fucking, like, I pulled it off right before flames started shooting out of the fucking thing. And then I ran it in the garage. I put it on. I have a little steel grate. I put it on top of the steel grate, and I had a fan run on it. And I'm sitting there looking at it. I'm like, okay, you're not gonna light on fire. I look at it, it's just a plastic. And I'm like, okay, just a plastic. Like that's when I saw like it had gotten so close to burning the actual cord, and I was like, oh, thank God. I went back up, and there's just a glob of black fucking. I showed a picture of the thread. Just a glob of black plastic covering the fucking burner and the top, and she goes to grab a fucking a spatula, a plastic spatula, and I'm like, don't touch it. Turned everything off.
It's still like the burner's probably still on.
Yeah, well, I had turned it off. First thing I did was turn the burner off.
But those stay hot for a while.
Oh yeah, and it was the fucking plastic was still bubbling and shit. I mean, dude, it did a fucking deal. We had to open all the doors and everything. I brought up I burn incense in the garage for the fucking gas smell and everything else, you know. So I brought up my incense, and we had to blow the apartment out. And
I like how your answer to a gas smell isn't ventilation. It's
no. I opened the garage door. I
with...
ventilate. I have fans, but like some of my airplanes are gas planes, and when I work on them, and the garage starts to smell like gas. So I open up the door, I put on the fan, I put on some incense, and it doesn't overpower you, you know. But yeah, man, holy fuck, yeah, we, and then of course, we had the moment where she was very upset that she thought she had lit the apartment on fire, and I'm like, listen, it's an accident, it happens, it's over now. I was a little angry at first. I actually think, I was looking at it today, I'm like, I think I can save this air fryer.
No.
Well, it only burned the plastic. It didn't get to any of the...
How much is an air fryer?
Cheap enough that I shouldn't probably try to save this one.
There you go. You jumped 3 steps, so I didn't have to explain it to you.
And I'm not going to force her to buy it, because I don't want her to feel even more guilty. I'm just going to take some money. I told her, I was like, we'll just take the money out of our savings, and we'll just buy a new air fryer. Because I got plenty of spicy chicken patties I need to cook, and ovens take time. Air fryers are like 10 minutes.
Oh, my God.
Listen, man, air fryer's the greatest thing ever. Greatest thing ever, and we almost burned to the ground. Yeah, it was bad.
I don't own one.
It was a good thing, though, that once it was cool, I was able just to take a fucking...
It's just plastic on the top of a...
Yeah, and a ceramic top. So I was able to take a knife and just scrape it, like a blade, a razor blade, and just scrape it off. It didn't take too long at all. But because that was the first thing I thought, I'm like, God damn it!
That's
man.
This is the joy of rental.
Yeah. and I'm glad that we had that ceramic cooktop. Because, like, if it had been, like, regular burners or something like that,
if it was, like,
God.
coils or something?
Holy fuck.
And it got all down into the...
Holy shit. I would have been legit. Like, I would have been legit angry.
Although, if it was like that, you wouldn't be leaving your air fryer.
No, we would have...
Because it's not a flat surface.
Yeah, we would have had a different setup.
Yeah.
So, yeah, air fryer almost burned the house down the other day.
Oh, that's good. Maybe you should have child-proofed your wife a year ago before even worrying about a kid.
And here's the worst part: like like last night, we were watching this YouTuber was doing a tier list of the best fast food fries, and Checkers made number 1.
Tier is in like TIE.
Yeah.
I'd just say a list.
Yeah.
Like, isn't it the same thing?
Well, he calls it a tier list of things, and he does like the pizza list. I think I sent you the pizza list one. And he did fries, and he's like, oh, Checkers are obviously the best fries. And she goes, ew, Checkers fries. Oh, they're disgusting. Who would love Checkers fries? I only buy the Checkers fries, the bag Checkers fries from Publix to heat in the air fryer.
Is that what she eats?
And that's what she eats. And I'm like, what do you think I eat when I cook fries? She goes, oh, from Publix. I'm like, which fries do you think they are? Why don't you go look in the fridge and discover? And she's like, oh, they're Checkers fries. And I'm like, yeah, if you air fry them, you don't get all the bad mojo from going. Because if you go to Checkers and get the fries, they're fucking they're in the same oil fryer as everything else that's been in there for the past 4.5 years. So you're going to get immediately sick because Checkers is not a place you should eat if you're a human being. But if you get the fries out
Well,
I can't, man.
Your whole life is colored by this Crohn's issue. I feel like just because you can't handle anything that would challenge you
One of the things I want to do
doesn't mean the rest of the world can't
I
handle
was
it.
thinking about this. One of the things I want to do when we get this camera and we're starting to really go vlog heavy.
Can we do a YouTube show going? Does it Crohn?
I want to go to Waffle House.
Oh,
And I want to see if I can make it through one of my old favorite meals
before what?
before I start having a Crohn's attack.
Well, oh, you mean like finish the meal,
Yeah.
or will you have an attack during the meal?
No, either. Can I make it through the entire meal and aftermath?
I assume-
And if we're filming at Waffle House, we're bound to see something.
I assume that if you have not eaten at Waffle House for a decade, that anything you eat is going to give you a Crohn's attack, even if it's the fucking ice cubes. Now, the challenge would be, I feel like the challenge is, can you finish the meal before you have the Crohn's attack? Or can you make it to the car before the Crohn's attack? Or can you make it home? Like, there's all kinds of, like, leveling up.
How about
It's
let's
like-
see how
it's-
far I get before I have the Crohn's
Well,
attack.
that's what I'm saying is that, like, it's a foregone conclusion. Okay?
Pretty much is.
This is like, if someone's never seen a gun before and you hand them a loaded gun, it's a foregone conclusion they're going to shoot themselves in the face. So we know that if you get a meal that involves anything cooked off the fucking cooktop at Waffle House, you're going to get a Crohn's attack. The question is, how far do you get? And there's prizes at each level. Can you actually finish the meal before you have to go run for the border? Can you...
Can I make it to my bathroom or do I have to
that's
use
what I'm
their
saying. There's
bathroom?
levels. There's can you actually finish the meal? Then can you actually finish the meal and get to the car? Can you finish the meal, get to the car, get home?
Now, here's another question. Is it better to shit in a Waffle House bathroom or the bushes outside? What's cleaner, more sanitary?
I don't know, because I've never had to shit in a Waffle House bathroom.
I have. It's not fun. It's not fun.
Another reason to do it. just
Yeah.
know you have to go through that.
Oof. Oof.
I mean, yeah, if you want to I don't know, if you want to put your body through the
stress.
the intestinal gymnastics that are obviously involved with this, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Like I'm here for you. I'm here for it because it's not me having to
Content, Daddy.
do it. Well, I just my pure entertainment value.
Yeah.
I'm there for it. But that's your call, man.
Yeah. I just keep thinking about, I've missed their hash browns so much.
Oh.
And the hash browns are probably the worst things to get because you're just soaked in that fucking oil. But they're so good.
Oil, butter,
They're
whatever it is.
so good, Ben.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
Trust me, I know. Our boy Jackie used to worship the place, and he loved coming here because we literally have a Waffle House right down the road from us. There's apparently none in Miami where he lives. So every time he would come up here to watch wrestling or whatever we were doing, he would always be like, well, it was a given that he was going to make Jessica stop at the Waffle House on the way home. They hit that Waffle House every single time. It was a reason. It was a contributing factor to actually bothering to come up here in the first place. Was that it would include a Waffle House run. What are you doing over there?
I was looking at my other notes.
Oh,
I have one more thing I want to talk about. We'll end the podcast with it, though.
are you sure we're ending it with this?
I mean, we don't have to. We
Well,
can talk for days.
No,
We can literally talk for as long as it takes for us to get all our ideas, thoughts, and opinions out of our heads.
No, I'm
again.
just like, I'm just making sure that you want to do this unilateral decision without consulting me first.
I always make these decisions.
I know
without consulting
you
people.
do. What do you got? What do you got?
I want to talk about WandaVision.
I knew. We should really do a separate nerd discussion.
I think so.